This video is going to be about a Minecraft speedrunner named Ontricus who beat a long-standing world record and then beat it again the very next day. But before we get to that, let me tell you a little story. Are you superstitious? Do you believe in karma, jinxes, or, say, curses? For most of my life, I never did, but I'm starting to question that. About a year ago, in late February of 2021, I had just made a video about Illumina's new world record in 1.16, and I decided I was going to take a short break. By the time I published my next video 9 days later, there had been 4 new world records across the 3 main Minecraft speedrunning categories. That's never something to complain about. It was just unfortunate timing for me. But new world records are always a good thing, no matter what. Fast forward to June 25th, 2021. I had just published a video 2 days ago when Corbanos got a new world record in version 1.15. Awesome. New world record, using new strategies, super exciting. I got right to work making a video, but 2 days later, on June 27th, Infume beat the world record in the pre-version 1.9 category. Still awesome, but again, conflicting records that all need to be covered. It's fine, the Infume video will just be a couple days late. And then, less than 24 hours later, Whatever Marco beat the world record again in the same category. Okay, it's not like it's a bad thing. I can still work with this. Fast forward again to November 7th. Doi Pingu breaks the 1.15 world record with a super cool run using new strategies that were a long time coming. I decided to put some extra effort into this one because of how cool of a run it is, and the video takes me until November 15th to put out. The thing is, on November 14th, Whatever Marco beats that world record by 1 second. Through various retimes, there was a lot of debate on which run actually ended up being faster, and it did turn out to be Pingu's in the end, but we're still not done. Fast forward to present day. Or close to present day. On January 7th, 2022, Ontricus beat the 1.15 world record. Awesome, time to make a video. The next day, Ontricus beat the 1.15 world record. At this point, I just kind of gave up. I'm a full-time student, man. I'm applying for college, I'm in a play, and I need my 4 hours a day of Clash Royale ladder matches or else I'm going to lose my global rank. Cube1337X beating a 1.16 world record that had stood for 9 months was enough to finally snap me out of my downward spiral of procrastination. And after that, well, it was going to be a couple weeks late, I got to work on the video about Ontricus. Then, on February 1st, Doug the Pig beat the 1.15 world record. Fuck you, Doug! Anyway, long story short, I'm making excuses, none of this matters to you. Enjoy a video about Ontricus accomplishing something incredibly impressive by beating a highly contested world record 2 days in a row. Oh, and if you were wondering, yes, Doug's getting a video too. He's getting a real good video. He's gonna wish he never beat that world. Doi Pingu's world record from November beat the game in 16 minutes and 18 seconds, so that was the time to beat. Technically, the verified world record was, and is, Corbanos' 1632 from June, because Doi Pingu was using an illegal mod which speeds up world loading called Starlight. But the entire community accepted the legitimacy of Pingu's record. Meanwhile, Ontricus was on the grind. Ontricus is one of the most well-rounded speedrunners in the game, sitting in 8th place on the combined RSG leaderboard, which adds together a runner's personal best in each of the main categories. He's also the world record holder for the All Bosses category in 1.16, a former world record holder in Random Seed Glitched, and during a 2-month break from Minecraft, got top 100 times in popular speed games Refunked and Portal, plus a sub 19-minute 16-star run in Super Mario 64 to boot. This guy knows his way around a speedrun leaderboard. In mid-November, he decided to start grinding version 1.15, with his personal best at the time being a 19-minute, 36-second run from all the way back in April. It only took him 5 days to crush that time, with an 18:04 on the 20th, and after that, he was off to the races, piling up sub-20-minute runs left and right. By January 6th, he had 12 such runs, including 3 runs under 18 minutes, with his personal best being a 17:35. Still a ways away from the world record, but his consistency proved that he had plenty of potential past that. Still, I don't think Ontricus or anyone was quite expecting what he was about to pull off, and it started on January 7th. Let's take a look at this run. Ontricus spawns next to a village on the coast of an ocean. After getting a little wood, he starts collecting hay bales. A lot of them. The way that speedrunners get the ender pearls they need to beat the game in version 1.15 is by trading emeralds to a cleric villager, and one of the ways they can get emeralds is by trading wheat to a farmer villager. They'll also need to gather emeralds from shipwrecks and get a ton of gold, which they can find in ocean monuments. Trading gold to a cleric not only gives the runner emeralds, but also levels up the cleric, which is necessary in order to unlock the ender pearl trade. So that means that as Ontricus looks for these things, he's going to have to take a villager along with him. At 2:55, Ontricus is leaving the village, which is about 50 seconds slower than Doi Pingu, whose world record run follows a similar route. He heads into the ocean and loots a shipwreck, where he gets some iron and a whopping 12 emeralds. 30 seconds later, he comes across an underwater magma ravine, where he's able to build a nether portal and head to the nether, where he'll need to get blaze rods in order to make the Eyes of Ender that will lead him to the end dimension. He's into the nether at 4 minutes and 40 seconds, 35 seconds slower than Doi Pingu. He finds a nether fortress almost immediately, although finding a blaze spawner turns out to be a pain, and he doesn't reach one until almost 6 minutes. After getting 2 blaze rods from the first 3 blazes he kills, he blaze beds, which is a strategy where runners use a bed to blow up the area surrounding the blaze spawner without breaking the spawner itself. This gives the blazes more space to spawn in, and causes more to spawn on average. He gets average blaze rod luck, getting 7 rods in 15 kills, and with the far distance of the spawner from his nether portal, Ontricus's nether split ends up being very slow, and by the time he returns to the overworld at 8 minutes and 42 seconds, he's over 2 minutes behind Doi Pingu. At this point, he's still missing one major thing, an ocean monument, which will give him the 8 gold blocks he needs to get more emeralds and level up his cleric. Almost immediately after leaving the nether though, he finds one, which saves him about 40 seconds that Doi Pingu spent looking for one. It's also important to note that the 2 runners are operating on slightly different schedules. Both Ontricus and Doi Pingu are using double day strats, one of the 2 main metas, where they acquire their ender pearls on the second day, but Doi Pingu is using a variation called double day Cantaria. For a more detailed explanation of double day Cantaria, check out my video about Pingu's record, but in a Cantaria run, the runner does some of the trading on the first day, getting 2 ender pearls right away. This is mainly beneficial, not because it's faster, but because the runner needs less total emeralds if they can pull it off. But Ontricus is set in that category. Anyway, Ontricus sleeps to skip the night and wakes his villager up bright and early to start trading. He trades emeralds to level up the cleric, trades his gold to give them more experience and get some emeralds back, then throws in a little sweetener for the cleric to level up a second time. One of the cruelest things in all of Minecraft speedrunning is the fact that 1/3 of the time, the run dies here, as there's a 1 in 3 chance that instead of offering ender pearls on its 3rd level, a cleric will offer glass bottles. But that's not the case this time, and Ontricus gets his first 7 ender pearls. Now, he'll follow his Eyes of Ender while he waits for the cleric to restock, so that he can trade the rest of his gold for emeralds, and trade those emeralds for the rest of the pearls he needs. He throws his first Eye of Ender at 11 minutes and 32 seconds. Still not an amazing pace compared to Doi Pingu, who threw his first eye exactly 2 minutes sooner. But the difference maker is the stronghold, because after only about 30 seconds of boating, Ontricus sees at the edge of his render distance the stronghold. Suddenly above the stronghold at under 13 minutes, he's caught all the way back up, and after trading for 6 more ender pearls, he spots the portal room exposed near the ocean floor, and is into the stronghold at 1340, putting him almost dead even with Doi Pingu. But like I said, the portal room of Ontricus' stronghold was exposed, something that didn't happen for Doi Pingu, and so while Pingu had to spend 30 extra seconds to find it, Ontricus heads right into the portal and enters the end at 13 minutes and 49 seconds. The fastest end enter in the history of the category. Not only is he easily on pace to beat Doipingu's 1617, but with good luck on the Dragon Perch, he could beat the version in under 15 minutes. A monumental goal that the runners and strat developers of the version have been working towards for over a year. Ontricus heads to the middle of the end, places a slab, and waterlogs it so that it won't break from an explosion, and heads away from the middle to try to coax the Ender Dragon into perching. But unfortunately, Ontricus doesn't get an instant perch. The dream of sub 15 will have to wait. Still, a sub 16 is a much more reasonable request, and with the fastest end enter in the history of the version, Ontricus is counting on the game to give it to him. But a minute passes, and the dragon does nothing. We're almost at the point of this getting out of hand. For Ontricus to not get world record from this crazy pace would be tragic. But at 15:45, Ontricus picks up on the pattern of the dragon and sees encouraging movement. And sure enough, it's ready to perch. He throws his last Ender Pearl, gets into position, and with the end goal of almost 2 months and 100,000 resets worth of grinding on the line, he clutches up the 1 cycle. Oh, sorry, did I say end goal? I meant just another in a string of personal bests that just happened to be the world record, because the very next day, he was back on the grind. And plus, there was one small problem with his 1610 world record. It wasn't verifiable, because he had used Starlight, the same world loading mod that Doipingu did. So, technically, per the leaderboard, he didn't have the world record. But that was about to change, and Ontricus was going to have to pull out some new strategies to get it done. Let's take a look at his second world record in 2 days. Like any double day run in 1.15, Ontricus spawns next to a coastal village, and just like in his last run, he collects tools, beds, food, and trades a ton of hay for emeralds. However, because he finds a brewing stand in the village, he can start trading with his cleric villager immediately, instead of waiting until after the nether to craft the brewing stand. Almost identical to his last run, he leaves the village at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. However, instead of comparing his splits in this run to his last run or to Doipingu's, we can compare his splits to whatever Marco's run, since Marco and Ontricus' second run both go to an ocean monument before the nether, while Doipingu and Ontricus' first run go to the nether first. Ontricus sets off in search of that ocean monument to get the gold he needs, and it takes him about 3 minutes, although he loots 2 shipwrecks on the way. He leaves the monument at 6 minutes and 32 seconds, just 2 seconds behind Marco, putting them in a dead heat. As soon as he's out of the range of the Elder Guardians, Ontricus continues trading with his cleric, and he's able to get his first 6 Ender Pearls at 7 minutes. Now, it's time to go to the nether, and he quickly comes across a magma ravine to his liking. He gains a lot of time on Marco here, entering the nether at 7:43 as opposed to Marco's enter at 9 minutes flat. However, believe it or not, Ontricus' nether is even worse than his last run. But, knowing he's on good pace, he thinks ahead and pulls off a strategy that will save him a lot of time, especially in the event of a distant fortress. After using his block entity counter and render distance toggling to locate the direction of a blaze spawner, Ontricus does what's called a pearl hang. He throws an ender pearl towards his nether portal, which he'll need to return to exit the nether. Right before it lands, he turns down his render distance to only a few chunks, so that the pearl is no longer loaded in, and therefore won't land. The game still remembers that the pearl is there though. As soon as Ontricus increases his render distance enough to load it back in, it'll land, and he'll instantly teleport back to his nether portal. So basically, because he was able to trade with the cleric on the first day and bring his pearls to the nether, he's able to turn a 2-way trip into a 1-way trip. But even that isn't enough to give him even a decent nether split. The fortress is 13 chunks away, and so his entire 77-second lead on Marco disappears by 9:10. As Marco spawns inside of his nether fortress. Ontricus finds his blaze spawner more quickly than last time, and blaze beds again, but he gets abysmal blaze rod drops, going 6 for 19. So, as he returns to the overworld at 12:12, through no fault of his own, Ontricus' 77-second lead on Marco has turned into a 20-second deficit. Still, All he has left to do is trade his golden emeralds for the last ender pearls he needs, find the strongholds, go to the end, and kill the dragon. So this is still very much potential world record pace for Ontricus, not that that's anything new to him. He returns to the surface, throws an eye, and follows it for 1 minute and 20 seconds before hitting an island. He throws another eye to get a more specific idea of how close the stronghold is, and with a sharp curve, he knows it's very nearby. Now, he trades his remaining gold for emeralds and his emeralds for more ender pearls, and at 1420, he starts boating away from the island on what isn't really world record pace anymore, unless the stronghold is like right there. And as he's leaving, Ontricus spots, that's right, not just the stronghold, but the top of the portal room, exposed. He dives down, and just like that, he's in the end at 1443. Ironically, this is almost a minute slower than his end enter in his first world record. But because the dragon screwed him last time, he's still got a chance this time. And this time, the dragon doesn't mess around. Ontricus is in position, ready for the dragon to perch at 1515. And after about 20 seconds, it does just that. Now, the stakes may seem low here, but keep in mind, Ontricus didn't use Starlight on this run. That means that if he lands this one cycle, he has the official, verifiable world record. One that's cutting it very close to being the first sub-16 in the history of the category. But if there's one thing at this point that there's no doubt about, it's that Ontricus has what it takes to finish what he started. That's the story of how a Minecraft speedrunner beat the world record, then beat their own world record the next day. It is pretty crazy that this happened in a category where months pass at a time with no world records, and from a runner who had never held the world record before. If I had a nickel for every time this happened in Minecraft, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it is weird that it happened twice. If you made it to the end, we really appreciate the support, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Next up is a video about Doug the Pig's new world record, so look forward to that. If you want, you can show some support on the video by liking, dropping a comment, and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.